This resource guides students through the explanation of Villaini's rhyming couplets and cyber poetry. Students start by setting up a profile and then assessing a bank of poems with different poetic forms. They randomly select poems from the list and answer questions that introduce discipline-specific metalanguage. Information about the poems and poetic conventions is provided, and students choose what, if any, of this information to access, and then choose 4 poems to include in an anthology. Students are then guided through the process of creating their own poem. Students demonstrate their learning by sharing their anthology and reasons for their choices. Creating in an online environment is essential for students that will transfer well into the workplace. Prensky, 2000. Integrating technology into the acquisition of knowledge and the creation text supports New South Wales Support Syllabus Outcome EN4-2A. It also builds a wide range of other skills that feed into the secondary English curriculum. An outcome supported by this resource but not explicitly concerned with is ICT is EN4-7D. Demonstrate understanding of how text can express aspects of their broadening world and relationships within it. Students selecting works for an anthology, as well as adding their own work, places the student poet into the same context of the author, creating a strong real-world connectedness of poetry. The ability to use this resource to backward plan, a term used by McTighe and Thomas in 2003, units to address the New South Wales curriculum enhanced by its access through Scootle, which relates to other sites that explicitly link the resource and curriculum. Students also develop valuable and creative ways of thinking about information gained through poetry, but also in the context of scientific inquiry, engagement with advertising, and as the consumer of the constant stream of information provided through television, the internet, and social media. Marissa, 1998. Using the student's perspective demonstrates that poetry is essentially a personal exchange, the poet providing their words as stimulus and the reader bringing their own understandings and perspective. Manuel and Carter say that poems are a powerful way of exploring ideas through perspective, metaphor, and analogy, and this resource allows students to actually experience this. The inclusion of cyber poetry in this resource extends this complex but essential way of thinking to the visual domain and allows students to understand the concept of visual analogy and the image's power to manipulate the viewer's content understanding in the ways that Messaris, in 1998, views as so important. Manuel and Carter also stressed that students do not respond well to traditional approaches to poetry, deconstructing them to find a particular correct version of meaning. This resource shows that poetry is a way of connecting people across different times and contexts, inherently meaningful concepts to Prensky's digital natives, for whom connectedness beyond their immediate surroundings is a concept deeply embedded in their everyday lives. The participatory nature of this resource can act as a motivational tool and fits well into a constructivist classroom, as described by Killen, 2013. It scaffolds student learning to make them actively seek the information needed than receiving it passively. This makes for a more engaging and satisfying learning experience for Prensky's games generation and encourages the development of deep knowledge, part of the quality teaching framework that Gore describes. The resource helps in the development of discipline-specific metalanguage. New words are not explained, rather presented in a contextual way, guiding students to understand the words and to use them to produce analysis of higher intellectual value. Building their own anthology within the scaffold of the resource is a clear demonstration of substantive communication of the text. They are not talking about how to approach text, they are doing it and finding their way through the process as they complete the task. These features combined link directly with Gore's 2007 intellectual quality domain within the quality teaching framework. The resource lends itself to inclusion into a sequence of lessons or smartboard lesson of the sort that we will create an assignment to, as it so strongly focuses on teaching students how to find the meaning in a poem. It creates what Reeves, Harrington and Oliver call an authentic task, one that teaches real, applicable skills to students. The foregrounding of the student's own reaction to the poem creates a foundation on inquiry and engagement, which can then be built on through thoughtful lesson planning to develop deep understanding. Students start at the base of Crathwell's revised version of Bloom's taxonomy and develop from there. The key to integrating this into a wider lesson structure is the fact that students have learned how to get from the lower to high, and with support can use this procedural knowledge to explore other texts' meaning for them. The ability to demonstrate a combination of knowledge, evaluative skill, and creativity in response to text is the definition of success in the study of English, and this tool sets students firmly on the road to success.